hear from some of the fantastic arts partners in the city, and hopefully to hear from some of the arts leads within schools as well about the sorts of things that you're up to, and to make sure that we're working better together to ensure that all our children and young people across the city are engaging in your programmes, and that we're embedding more creativity in the curriculum in schools. So I'm Kathy. I manage Challenge, which is our local cultural education partnership, and I'm going to pass on to Martin.
Hi there, I'm Martin Smith. I work very closely with Kathy in Challenge, and I've sort of got oversight of what's called the Cultural Rucksack, and I'll explain a bit more about that if you're new to the game later on. How am I feeling? It's a blessed relief to get to this meeting because I've had a nightmare of a day, so thank you for being here. And I'll pass on to Hannah, who's on my left, but she doesn't know that.
I'm going to assume that's me. I think I'm the only Hannah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh, smashing. That's good. I'm Hannah. I'm with the Nottingham Music Service, part of the Nottingham Music Hub, and my role is to work with partner organisations and also to liaise with schools. And how am I feeling today? Probably slightly damp after a slight domestic emergency featuring a washing line and a snapped clothes prop. So there we go.
Would you like to pass on, Hannah?
Yes, let me do that. I'm going to pass on to Gareth, please.
Hello everyone, my name's Gareth. I am the producer at Nottingham UNESCO City of Literature. I probably, to school colleagues, speak more to your colleagues in the English department than you as the arts people, but I think I'm probably going to be here talking about the cultural manifesto that we've been leading on, working with youth boards and cultural partners around the city, and how that can engage with schools and schools can support, but also finding ways that we can do things that are cross-curricular as well. My background's in arts more than perhaps literature, so this is a newer thing for me. And it's how am I feeling today? I'm feeling really good because NUSA, so Nottingham University Southwark Academy, signed up to do some workshops with us next half term, which I'm really excited about, and hoping to send, some of you might know him, but Mafaro Makabika, who's a Nottingham playwright, in to go and do some playwriting workshops with them. So that's really quite exciting. And he's slap bang in the middle of my screen, so I will pass on to Matt.
Oh, hello. I'm Matt. I'm a freelancer, so writer, workshop leader, theatre maker. I do a lot of work with the museum service with Rosny, so that's why I'm here today. And I now realise I might be pitching her thing for her. She's not made it back in. But basically, we're doing. I'm pretty sure what we're here for was we're doing a sort of quite a big project about D.H. Lawrence at the minute, because we've got a portrait of his at Newstead Abbey. So we put a whole educational programme together, and a lot of that is digital online resources, and we've got a couple more bits, a lot of bits for primary, and then we've got some bits for secondary as well. And I think part of what we're trying to get a hang of at the minute is kind of what secondary schools are going to want most usefully in terms of whether in-person stuff's better or digital stuff's better, and what kind of thing is going to be useful from what we're doing. I think the secondary stuff, we're looking at a poem called The Piano, if that's helpful at all. And I'm feeling, I'm a bit knackered. I've been running sessions all day, but I'm glad to be back inside. And I'll pass on to Sophie.
Hi. So my name's Sophie. I'm here today on behalf of Tomdale Company. We are a performance company, but we do a real wide range of participation. We work in primary schools and secondary schools with youth groups across the county. We've just developed a workshop package which uses virtual reality, which we've tested out on secondary age children, which has been brilliant, really exciting. It uses VR and choreography. And we also offer lots of different kind of workshops in contemporary dance, choreography, and CPD for teachers as well, to try and build up their skills and confidence in teaching dance. Pass over to Simon.
Thanks, Sophie. So yeah, my name's Simon. I'm from the Freedom Foundation organisation based in Nottingham. We've been going since about 2018. Is that my microphone? Someone says still can't hear. Can everyone else hear me?
Simon, Yeah, it's fine.
Amazing.
Simon, well,
So-
we're going to do our 5-minute updates later. We're just doing introductions for now. So
Okay.
yeah, your role
Hi.
within the organisation and how you're feeling.
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. I've just come back from Tenerife, and I'm just getting used to the cold weather back in rainy old Nottingham. But yeah, I'm the operations manager at Freedom Foundation. So I will pass on to, I don't know who's been and who's not. Martin, have you been? You're on mute.
Martin's on mute.
I've been, but
No.
Rosny can go instead.
Okay.
Rosny, over to you. Quick introduction. Oh, she frozen.
She might be frozen. So I'm gonna come over to Roxanne.
Hi, sorry, I just had to leave quickly for a phone call, sorry. I'm Roxanne, I am a lecturer at Nottingham College. I teach on various early years courses, and I met Kathy at the Positively Empowered weekend. Really interested in getting involved with some activities from 2 points of view, really. My students are 16 to 18, so there might be some that are appropriate for them, but they are also learning to work with children who are much younger in early years, so 0 to 5. So kind of from both points of view, really interested in getting involved in some things. Also feeling good, thank you. Been to Goose Fair recently.
Oh, good.
I had some donuts.
Is it Laura Ustin?
Hi, I'm Laura. I work at an alternative provision in Nottingham. I was told about you guys through Martha Toogood. I'm feeling knackered. I've had a hell of a day. But apart from that, I'm here. I'm here.
Thank you for coming at the end of a long day. Can I come across to Tracy?
Hello, sorry, I'll get my camera on. Quite working at the minute, technical error. Right, there we go. My name's Tracy Meeks. I'm the assistant head at Park Vale Academy. I didn't come to your first event, but obviously I'm really interested in getting involved in anything that gives our students, we're 11 to 16 school, but gives our students more rounded skills, I suppose, to prepare them for the world ahead of them rather than just the academic side, which obviously the school concentrates on. But we do realise that we need to expand them more as whole individuals. So that's what I'm interested in.
Music to my ears.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Can I come across to Beth?
Hello, hi, I'm Beth. I'm head of art at Tootle Hill School in Bingham. I'm pretty tired as well today. That seems to be the common theme. And we're just looking to kind of re-establish sort of trips and experiences for students after COVID, because that has dropped off the end a little bit.
And Eki.
Hello, good afternoon. My name's Eki Ganser. I am the Child Friendly City Lead for Nottingham. My post sits within Nottingham City Council, but the programme is funded through Small Steps, Big Changes. And yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be here and excited to connect and hopefully work some partnerships with different people across the city. So thank you for having me.
Amazing, thanks for coming. Is there anyone that's been missed?
I say hi.
Oh, Rosny, you're there now.
Oh,
hi.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I can hear everyone as well now after 3 attempts on my laptop and 1 on my phone. So it's quite exciting to actually be here. I've got a new laptop and it just doesn't seem to like things that my old one did. So anyway, I'm Rosny. I am one of the learning officers at Nottingham City Museums and Galleries. I mainly work at Newstead Abbey with a focus on literacy and art as well.
Brilliant. So what we're going to do is we've got just over an hour together, and we're going to hear from the various arts providers that are here in the room about some of the ongoing things that you do, or the upcoming opportunities for schools to get involved with your projects and programmes. So roughly sort of 5 minutes each. And and then we're going to move on to some discussion around CPD and how we can better support that. And there are a couple of people here that are also doing various things around youth voice, youth manifestos, right, understanding what young people want from the city and how we could better connect with schools to sort of bring that out and support that. So so various events coming up to share with you as well. So it's going to be quite a packed hour. So we will make notes, and this again will be recorded so that people can watch again. So if it's okay, I'm just going to maybe, now that you're here, Rosny, could we start with you and Matt to tell us what's going on with city museums and galleries? Oh, you're on mute, Rosny.
I can't get any of this right today. You'd think I'd know by now. I've got two things to share with you. So I'll do the first one that's quite quick, that's actually for my colleague. So we're doing a partnership project with the Natural History Museum called the Urban Nature Project. And as part of that, we've got funding over the next 2 years to offer free school sessions at both our sites, so Willerton Hall and Newstead Abbey, looking at ecology skills. So therefore, the funding is for pupils aged 9 to 14, so it's not all of secondary. And they cover things like pond dipping, mini beast, tree trails, and we also do an ecology field trip day. So we get our quadrants and we look at different plants that are growing at Willerton Hall. So they're free. It's running for the next 2 years. I sent a little bit of information to Kathy, so I expect she might pass that on to you. But if anyone's interested, then do get in contact with us. And we can arrange for some of your groups to come and see us on those 2 sites. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that myself and Matt have been working away on a project at Newstead Abbey linked to the writer D.H. Lawrence. So in May, I think it was, we got a bit of funding to buy a portrait of D.H. Lawrence for the collection that's now hanging in Newstead Abbey. And so as part of that, we wanted to do something for schools around looking at D.H. Lawrence's writing. So we've been doing working on a digital resource aimed at Key Stage 2 primary, so that's taken quite a bit of work, but we also want to do something for secondary, and we're at that stage of sort of wondering what it might be and what it might look like, and so we want to know really from teachers what would be useful. So I've done a questionnaire for English teachers. I don't know if there's any English teachers here, or if not, if you might be happy to send them the questionnaire along to your English leads. Again, Kathy's got a copy of that. And that is basically asking what you do already. So a lot of the exam boards have the D.H. Lawrence poem, The Piano, in there. So I know a lot of schools are quite familiar with that. So finding out what people do already, how much time you spend on it. If you look at D.H. Lawrence in any other sort of aspect of school life, so I know some schools look at D.H. Lawrence for history as a sort of significant local figure, so it might be that your school does a bit more. I know the Nottingham High School do a lot because D.H. Lawrence used to go to Nottingham High School, so they've got some really nice links and some good resources there. And then the other thing that I'm really interested in finding out, and this perhaps if you've got some things I want to share with me, they could put it in the chat or email me later. Is about the external resources that you use in school already. So we're aware that it can be quite hard for secondaries to come out to a venue. So rather than saying we're going to do a session at Newstead Abbey, we'd like to create something that you could use in school. So it might be a video. So Matt is our writer in residence. He might say in a minute and say a little bit about what we're thinking. So it might be like a video tutorial that you could run with your class. It might be a lesson plan. But I'm guessing, well, I'm kind of curious to know if you use anything already externally. I don't know if you use any resources from things like the TES website, what you find useful and what you might be useful, likely to use, and also any examples you've got of really good resources that we can see, because obviously we can think of something that sounds good from our perspective, but we want to create something that's going to be useful for secondary. I don't know, did you want to add anything, Matt, to that?
I think you've covered it. I just yeah, I don't know. I'm very well versed in leading workshops in person. So I do a lot of writing workshops. A lot of the stuff we've done for Key Stage 2 has been looking at getting them writing about nature and everything kind of coming from their ideas. And then the video stuff, obviously through lockdown, got a bit more experience in as well. So that tends to be me as much as possible leading a session the way I would in person, but kind of interspersing bits of spoken instructions with sort of slideshow slides popping up with instructions and examples on. So it's obviously a bit less interactive because it's a pre-recorded thing, but try and sort of keep it as kind of varied and sort of space to take it in different directions as we can. Yeah.
So yeah, so if people are happy, if Kathy be happy to send that questionnaire out, and if anyone does want to make any comments in the chat, or if I put my email in, if you just want to send me anything, then that would be really helpful.
Brilliant. Thanks, Rosny and Matt. So yeah, if anyone's aware of those things, please use the chat function tonight to kind of keep talking to each other. And that would be great. Would anyone like to come back just immediately with any of their external resources that they currently use or places they looked for those things? Just can open it out if you'd like to say something now. If not to worry, we can just move on. Brilliant. Okay. So can I come across to Sophie at Tom Dale, please?
Hi, apologies for earlier. My intro was not an intro. Feeling good. Feel like I've been wearing many hats today. So a little bit about the work that we do at Tom Dale. So I'm a company dancer, so I'm involved in their professional touring productions, and I'm also the participation lead. Tom Dale company work mostly with dance and digital and how these two worlds can collide together, which is really exciting. We're a touring performance company. We're based in Nottingham, but we do work nationally and internationally. So we feel like we're always kind of keeping up to date with the current climate, and we can pass that knowledge on. So at the moment, I suppose we've got kind of 3 separate workshop packages or strands. So the first, and all of them can be bespoke and fit to the needs and requirements of the specific age group and ability of the students that we're working with. The first one is workshops in contemporary dance, which encourage and help students to learn new movement skills, and most importantly, encourage students to express themselves with confidence, to be bold, to be comfortable in themselves, and to just give new things a try. And it's really important to us that we create a real sense of connection and trust in the room where students feel like they can really express themselves and thrive. These could be like one-off workshops, or it could be a longer, more intensive process which culminates in a performance. So it could be a focus on the process and product, or just a focus on the process, depending what people want. The second thing we've just developed, super exciting, is our VR workshops. So essentially this fuses movement and choreography, and the students go into the headsets and play kind of different games and use different tools in VR, which encourage them to move, and then we create choreography from it. We're not aware of anything else like this, so it's really exciting. We feel like we're really developing something new, and it's still in the stages of kind of coming to fruition, but we tested it out on a group of teenagers and they all had a great time. So that's really positive. It's lots of fun. It's very interactive, and it's been, really great. The third thing that we offer is CPD. So this can kind of vary depending on what teachers want. We know at secondary, a lot of PE teachers have to teach PE, but sometimes lack the confidence to do that. So these sessions are aimed at increasing the skills and knowledge of these teachers and giving them the confidence to teach. A lot of the time, they don't have the correct vocabulary or the terminology to speak about dance and understand it. So part of that session is focused on helping them understand how to talk about it so they can teach it. They don't have to be professionals to deliver a really high quality session. You can get the students, if with the right language, you can create something that's really brilliant and creative, and get the students to be creative without having to be an expert yourself. And we're also looking at ways that we can embed movement and creativity across the curriculum. This is kind of a new thing we're developing, and have been doing it a little bit in primary schools at the moment with creativity collaboratives, which, you know, Kathy's involved in, but it's something we're keen to develop for secondary schools as well. So how we can bring movement into a maths lesson or into a science lesson to reinforce that learning and create like some excitement and a bit of buzz. So yeah. That's me. I can't hear you, Kathy.
Oh, sorry, I was just saying thank you because that was great. Now over to Simon from the Freedom Foundation. Simon, would you be able to give us an update?
Hi, yeah, it's been a busy year. Just a little bit of a background for some people that obviously might not know who we are. We were founded in 2018. We're called Freedom Foundation. We are based in the city centre of Nottingham. We work in school settings, in community settings, your primary schools, your secondary schools. We've recently started working in APs, alternative provisions, and really been focusing on a lot of SEND schools, which is the impact and the results have been fantastic. There's some really creative young people out there, which is refreshing to see. We focus on dance, singing and songwriting, making people more aware about social media and the impacts that has on their mental well-being, and understanding who they are as individuals, and it's okay not to be okay, and just being individual. Yeah, I mean, our programs that we offer for the junior factories and the senior factories, they're 12-week programs with how we try and align with the school's outcomes, their PSHE outcomes. So we're working towards the same, we're singing off the same hymn sheet, that's what I like to say. And then at the end of that 12 weeks, the young people get to showcase what they've learned over that 12-week period, their own spoken word, their own poetry, their own singing and songwriting. We do tend to get a lot of rappers. They think they get to they like to say they like to spit their own bars, as they like to speak, and then do the street dance and their hip hop dancing. And you know, I'm invested in the next generation, especially since I've recently become a dad, and you know, it's what they're able to achieve. They feel like they're limited, and we're there to open their eyes, basically. And you know, when I was at school, in the educational system, you know, I really struggled. I think how I behaved, they didn't really know how to diagnose, but I think they would have come up with all sorts for me. But I was really creative, and that's where my strengths lay. And it's really, you know, we try and open doors for the young people in school, and you know, it's really impactful. So yeah, that's what we do. We've got a lot of programs that fully funded, so a lot of schools, if any of them are on here, you know, we've got a lot of programs to offer, so please speak to me. I know Roxanne, are you at Nottingham College? I think we're coming in to do one of our programs. I think we're coming to do one of our programs, Why Wise,
Okay.
with a bunch. I think it's from January, and that's working with a group of young students. I think it's year nines, like year nines. I can't remember what the year is. I haven't got it written down, but we're coming to work with them around street dance, singing and songwriting, looking at their literacy skills. And then with the YWise program, they get to empower them to do a social action. We did this last year with another, I think it was Nottingham Girls Academy, and they went out onto the streets and worked with a lot of homeless people, got co-op involved. It was amazing, and I know it's going to be amazing at Nottingham College. So yes, that's where we are at, and thank you very much.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Simon. That's great. If you could add your details into the chat so that then people can contact you directly, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, congratulations on the little baby.
Thank you very much. He's 2 this month.
Wow. Oh, that's fab. Right. I've just just a quickie, I've just received apologies from Georgina, who's the Heritage Officer at the Theatre Royal and Concert Hall, who'd hoped to come, but really the key message that she wanted to get across was around support that they're able to give in terms of the team and the people that work in the theatre and behind the scenes at the Theatre Royal and Concert Hall, just to say that they're really keen to come out to secondaries and give talks or attend your careers fairs or those sorts of things to give an insight into working in creative industries. So if you, I'll add her details as well to the chat and put them in the notes for the meeting. So if any of you are keen to get speakers in for free to talk about kind of careers options and what people to be questioned and quizzed about how they got to where they are, then that's another possibility. So Hannah, are you okay? Where are you? Oh, there you are. Hannah, would you be able to tell us a bit about what the Music Hub's up to?
Yes, I shall split this
Thank
into two different sort of subsections, I guess. The first of which is how we can work with you in schools. We are able to support you if you are currently panicking around the new National Plan for Music Education, which I know from colleagues in primary schools, conversations with them recently, there is a flurry of activity around putting things in place to make sure that schools are meeting the strictures of this new national plan. We're very happy to help. We are very happy to help with such things as instrumental teaching, with such things as signposting to singing development. We've recently employed a singing champion who is able to come into school and work with you. We also can provide support with things like development of curriculum and CPD for colleagues if such things are required. So just because we're already into the academic year doesn't mean that it's too late to sign up for things that we may be offering as our in-school programmes. So just get in touch and we're happy to help at any time. The second thing is around some of the events and activities that are going on with the Music Hub and with some of our partner organisations at the moment. So next week, the 13th of October, at the University of Nottingham Music Department, our partner organisation Making Tracks is arriving fresh from the Scottish Highlands, where they've been working together as a bunch of musicians, putting together a most extraordinary programme of music, which they are going to share in an evening concert. But before that, they are holding workshops in the afternoon next Thursday at the University of Nottingham Music Department, and there are places still available should any local secondary schools want to get involved. It's particularly valuable for Key Stage 4 pupils who might be studying music or music tech. There will be a workshop with one of the 2022 Making Tracks Fellows. Malin is a person who plays bagpipes and whistles and all kinds of things, is really steeped in the traditions of Scottish music, and will be joined by other fellows from places as diverse as Iran, Morocco, Sweden, Denmark, literally all over the world. So if you think that your Key Stage 4 pupils might benefit from that, please do get in touch. I'll pop my email address in the chat. Moving further down the road towards Christmas, we've got our Christmas in the City concert, which this year is going to be held in a variety of different locations, including St Mary's in the Lace Market, potentially the Albert Hall, Nottingham Contemporary. And today, all city secondary schools have had an invitation to attend with their choirs. There will be further invitations sent out later on for ensembles to get involved, but particularly today, I wanted to talk to you about choirs. Again, the National Plan for Music is requesting that all schools have a singing strategy as part of their music development plan, and this could be really good as a part of how you maybe develop your school's singing strategy by piggybacking off some of the events that the Music Hub are organising. Christmas in the City is going to be absolutely fantastic, and this year is going to be particularly exciting because it's going to be at a bit of a movable feast. We're going to be having concerts in a variety of different locations throughout the evening, which will be both challenging and exciting, I would say. So let's see how this goes. It's going to be great. So if you would like to get involved in that, look in your email inbox or your music lead's email inbox. I've also copied in all the admin teams at school, so they will have a copy even if your music lead claims not to have one. So just keep an eye out for that, and you are very welcome to get involved and be part of something which could be really pretty special. Back in person this year after a couple of years hiatus with with the dreaded word that we shall not mention. So yeah, exciting times. So yeah, get in touch. I'll pop the email and also phone number in the chat, and it'd be lovely to hear from you.
Amazing, thanks Hannah, that's great. Right then, could I come across to Gareth to tell us about various things that you're up to?
Yes, hello everybody. As I said, I'm Gareth. I work for Nottingham UNESCO City of Literature, so might not have been in contact with as many of you as perhaps if I was doing something a bit more arts-led. I'm generally chatting to the English departments, but it's great to hear from Simon and from Rosny and Matt that they've got literacy overlaps in the work that they're doing. Very exciting. I'm sat next to my favourite D.H. Lawrence poem at the moment. The projects that we're doing at the moment, it's a bit of a weird time for arts and culture institutions in that we're coming round to the next phase of 3 to 4 year funding. So lots of people are in a bit of a, oh, we're doing a little bit of stuff now, but hopefully come Easter, so next September for schools delivery, things are going to be a bit more settled. So everybody's a little bit chicken and egg at the moment. We all know this intrinsically, but we need to remember that we have to share that with schools, because NPO funding rounds are things that you don't have time to worry about. We're in a big NPO funding round at the moment, so we're hoping by the end of this month that everybody on this screen, should they have gone for that funding, will have a decision in a big brown envelope from the Arts Council, which is exciting and scary in the same breath. So this year we're not doing as much as we are hoping to do over the next 3 years. What we are doing is a pilot programme working with a few targeted secondary schools, looking at sending writers in and developing a citywide zine. So working with the entire of year 9 in a school, developing creative writing from that being produced into a zine, and then that being shared on an author's day, working with the writers that we bought books from for our Big City Reads programme, which happened in the summer. So all of the schools in the city should have received books on our behalf. If you didn't, let me know. Mrs. Austin, I don't know which alternative provision you're from. We tried to send them to all the APs that we know about. I really hope that we sent some to you as well. Then the other programme that we're doing, which is probably the one that's more interesting at the moment, is on International Youth Day. Kathy, myself, 20 young people from the city and a few others from other organisations got together to put in a first draft of our creative youth manifesto, something that we can send to arts organisations, to decision makers in the city, around what 14 to 25-year-olds want to get out of cultural and creative spaces in the city. What are their barriers to participation? What makes a space feel not right for them? There was lots of discussion of the word vibes, and whether me saying vibes was actually a very kind of square 34-year-old, when actually when it's said by somebody who's 17, it actually means something different. About where information is shared, and also kind of the ambitions for what the new central library could be like. And there were some really interesting, exciting things that came out of that. We're going to be publishing that manifesto in January as the start of the 2023 year of stories. 2023 across a range of different organisations is going to be the year of stories. And that's not just necessarily reading a book, that's through storytelling, that's through performance, that's through playwriting, that's through people spitting bars, as Simon was talking about earlier. Like, how do you tell and share a story? So I'm really, really excited about that. It's a little embryonic still, but it will be something that develops over the year, with the central aim of that being reopening of the central library in town, which I think is going to be really, really exciting. We will obviously be sending copies of that out to schools, and if schools want to engage with that anymore, please let me know. I'll share my details in the chat. And there are things that we can do to support the literacy curriculum more widely. Let us know, or if there are feeds into your artistic curricula, let me know as well. And also Matt and Rosny, really happy to talk about D.H. Lawrence or various other things should you want to, and share the stuff that you've mentioned with my secondary schools directly to the English departments. So just if you don't already have my email, I will share it in there. But yeah, that's me. And hopefully there's fun and interesting things that come out of that.
Amazing. Thanks, Gareth. That's great. And I only just recently got a chance to actually read that second draft of the manifesto, and it is brilliant. So amazing job on that. And I look forward to being able to share it more widely with everybody. Right then, I think we've just had somebody join us. So Mrs. B. Leddy, could you introduce yourself and just let us know where you're from? If possible,
Hello?
if you're happy.
Hello, I can't see me, so I don't know whether you can see me, but I'm here. Hello, I'm Bethany. I am from the Nottingham Manual School. I'm the head of music here.
Oh, amazing. Thank you for joining us. So we're just in the midst of our updates, and you're really welcome. So thank you for coming along. So I think we're nearly there. Who's not been? Let's see who's here. Eki, it's over to you to tell us a little bit about Child Friendly City and how you might like secondary schools and the college to get involved in anything you've got coming up.
Hello all. So I'll give you a quick brief about Child Friendly Cities. So Nottingham's ambition is to become a child friendly city. We're working in partnership with UNICEF UK, and it's around supporting the rights of our children and young people across the city from 0 up to 18. We are currently in our discovery phase where the last sort of 8-ish months we've been consulting with children and young people, gathering their views about the city, what they understand about their rights. To actually, the plan is to actually put together a partnership action plan. Although it's a children's rights programme, it's a city programme as well. So the idea is to work in partnership to actually support children's rights in terms of making sure children and young people's voices and are at the forefront of sort of everything we do, from planning, policy, you name it. And so in terms of sort of partners and organisations, from schools to youth groups through to the council, that we're actually looking at the decisions that we make today, how they impact our children and young people. So as I said, we're currently in discovery phase. We're doing lots of different sort of workshops. We've had surveys going out across the city. They have been sent out to schools. Not a great turnover, but we did actually put a competition out to actually support the survey. So if there's any schools that haven't got it, I'm pretty sure it's gone to the majority of them across the city, but I can resend that information back out just to actually try and get as much feedback from children and young people about, you know, what they like and dislike about their area, about their thoughts on Nottingham, about their understanding of children's rights. But this all pulls together, and we're actually putting on a Discovery Day. That's on Tuesday, the 15th of November, where we're inviting schools, you know, alternative provisions, youth groups to actually come together. We've got quite a few primary schools already signed up, but we're bringing them together to actually look at what we've discovered sort of during this time. And then from that, we'll be picking badge priorities. So there's 10 which we get to choose from, 3 that are already set from UNICEF, and an additional 10 that we get to pick from. And then from that, we'll work sort of priorities and an action plan to actually support sort of children's rights. And depending on the badges they pick, it could end up being around supporting being more of a healthy city, about participation within the city, about children and young people's education and learning, about being equal and included. So yes, for schools and groups, I'd like to invite you to Discovery Day. If you do have any interest, please let me know. If you can't actually make it on the 15th of November, we do actually have a remote discovery pack that we can send out to groups and schools to actually ensure that children and young people have an understanding of what we're doing, and to also get their voices, and so they understand about like the data that's out there and what we understand about our city and our young people. And there's also an opportunity to sort of tap into the event sort of virtually as well. So whether we can hit sort of PSHE lessons that are going off across the city, if that's, or if there's just a group of young people that are interested and they want to kind of hear more about it, I'll pop some details in the chat. please get in touch.
Amazing. Thanks, Eki. For the teachers that are here, had you heard about Nottingham becoming a child-friendly city or wanting to be at all? No. So that's great. It means we can do a really good comms job over the next sort of couple of months to make sure that teachers and schools are really aware of this, because I think really you're going to be key to how it develops and getting the message out to parents and children in so many ways. Welcome to Beth as well from Westbury. Great that you could be here again. Are you there? Do you want to say hello?
Hi. Yeah, I was just on a meeting with the Chartered College of Teaching, who are launching stuff for teaching assistants at some point. So I've been double booked and leapt on. So that the half of that I heard sounded really exciting. So.
Well, you were recording the session, so you can watch again, and we'll send out some notes as well. So hopefully you won't miss out on anything. Just a couple of updates from me. So Challenge has got an exciting new couple of members of staff. So we've got a new marketing manager starting at the end of October, and also a new schools partnerships coordinator to support the work of the Cultural Rucksack, and how we can individually support you a little bit more, which have made that commitment to be a Cultural Rucksack school. Some of you are offering support to other schools, and others are kind of just really wanting to find out more about how you can embed more creativity in your curriculum and things. So there's the opportunity now we've got a bit more capacity to come and see you and meet you in your place, and help to develop that. So again, Victoria Sutton is our new schools partnerships coordinator, and she'll be joining us on the 24th of October. So another thing, just the last thing for me, is just to let you know about a symposium, another date for your diaries, the Young Roots into Creative Careers Symposium. So this is something that that is happening on the 29th of November. We'd really love you to be able to come along with a few students to be able to share your voices in this new kind of Midlands-based partnership. So we're working with people in Leicester and Birmingham to make sure that we're sort of connecting in with young people across primaries and secondaries, but really to understand what advice is out there, how you're developing your knowledge and being able to pass that on to families and young people, so that we all join forces to make sure that young people are making well-informed decisions. So really, I think we just want to be asking our main question, which is around what does a quality creative careers education look like, and then how do we work better together to pull this sort of year-round provision together in a more cohesive way. And for you to be able to bring a small cohort of young people along to that day on the 29th of November would be brilliant. For now, if you're wanting to come, just drop me an email, so Kathy@challengenottingham.co.uk, and we'll send you more information about all the logistics and things. So it's the beginning of something, I think, that there's information out there, but we don't necessarily always find the way to pull it together in a comprehensive way that's really useful for you. So this is the opportunity to tell us how we can do it better. And then just mention, Gareth mentioned the Year of Stories 2023, and would that's something again that you absolutely are invited to be part of, for you to be thinking about the ways that you can be part of Year of Stories, what events you might be able to put on, and we're wanting to provide you with resources at the right time for you to be able to develop that as well. So keep an eye out on all the stuff that's going on for the new Central Library opening and the Year of Stories 2023, so it can be really, really owned by everybody, and you can come up with ideas for that too. Okay, so just going to come over to, I think everybody that's from an arts partner, I don't think anyone else joined in the room. Has everyone been able to give their updates? I haven't missed anyone out, have I? The list? No, great. So Martin, it's over to you now, really.
Okay, thanks ever so much. yeah, I mean, just following up from what Kathy said, just looking at the notes of the last meeting to make sure we're doing the things that we said we would promise we would do, and working around the promotion and development of creative careers opportunities in the city was one of them. So it's really, you know, that's responding to some things that you've been talking to us about. And I know, Catherine, is really keen to develop some opportunities now for you and young people in, you know, the coming years about how we can help promote creative and cultural careers, and then how we can get young people engaged in those and having a sort of a worthwhile relationship between our cultural and arts provision and our schools with the young people in the middle. So that's something we'll be developing, and that symposium is going to really support that work. I am also, Kathy, that we had a contact from Georgina from the Theatre Royal, and I think we can get something out to you as well, because they're looking at trying to develop and raise the profile of careers, again, in theatre settings, but looking more at the support, the technical side of it as well. So they're keen to engage schools in that. I think they're doing a presentation at West Bridgeford School around careers in that particular area. So there's a sort of growing interest, I think. And I think partly because there's a huge labour shortage. I mean, we haven't got enough people to do all the things we want them to do. So we're trying to grab as many young people as we can into the areas that we feel really matter, so that there are, you know, people flowing into the careers that help deliver sort of the cultural and arts opportunities across the city. I mean, and just supporting that, it'd be great to have a chat with the schools, either from this meeting or later on, just in what you might need to help you support and promote arts and cultural careers within and across the school. And that's part of the work of the Cultural Rucksack, really, to try and embed some of that. So there are opportunities and discussions are having, or you're going to visit, for example, the Contemporary. What opportunities, in addition to perhaps seeing the art exhibition, could there be to find out about all the people involved in putting it on and what roles they have? So it's really a plea to everybody. If you are looking at doing some work with our partners, okay, there'll be the offer of the activity you're going to do, but it'd be great just to look at the broader picture of how that's put together and all the skills that are needed and the people that are needed to help do that. So, and that just gives young people opportunities to think, well, actually, I quite fancy the idea of that. So it's all about thinking a bit wider than just the activity itself and what else we could do. So that's part of it. And the other thing we were talking about was looking at teacher training opportunities. And again, through the Universities of Nottingham, that's Nottingham Trent and Nottingham University, we've got an exciting enrichment programme, isn't that right, Kathy? To help promote all the arts and cultural activities across the city, so that as they come out and deliver, either as part of their teacher training programme or perhaps as staying on as full-time teachers, they get an understanding of what's out there. And that's key as well. So we are picking up on the things that are mentioned in these meetings and trying to develop and take them forward. So I just thought I'd give a bit of feedback on that. The monologue will stop shortly because I want to get some engagement from you, I can assure you. So I'm just going to share my screen, Kathy, if that's okay. Oh, what? Hang on. I don't want to update my driver, not just yet. Please don't do that to me. Right, try again. Right. It's not allowing me to do it again. I've got this problem, Kathy, with it updating. So I shall talk through it. I'll talk through my presentation instead. Oh, no, I am. I can relieve you from that.
Oh.
There we are. Are we up? Yep. I'll just get that full screen. Has that worked? Excellent. Okay. So, in essence, is what the Cultural Rucksack is about. It's very much about the partnership between our city cultural arts provision and our schools, and looking at how we can better develop and enhance that. And we're seeing some good examples of that today. So thank you for your engagement there. Just on updates of where we are, when we first started on our journey for this, schools were telling us they don't know what's out there. So we responded to that, and Kathy and I are going to lock ourselves in a room on Monday, aren't we, Kathy? And we are going to finish putting together the cultural handbook, which will tell you all about what's out there and what's happening. So from our provider's point of view, we've asked them to highlight what's called their core offer, i.e. the thing that they can offer regularly throughout the year that will enable you, the schools, to plan more effectively and embed it within the curriculum. We recognise, of course, in doing that, that the providers will have very often, really exciting initiatives from time to time, and the newsletters and everything else that Kathy does to communicate with you through Challenge. That's the route for which we'll be spreading information on that, in addition to these culture meets, whether it's primary or secondary. So that way we can hopefully get a good idea of what's happening across the city itself. Other things we were asked for was a map, which I'll talk about in a minute, looking at trying to promote high quality arts and cultural education. That's very much the interaction between the two sides, the schools and the providers. And I'll touch on some of the other things as well. So just moving on to the core offer, what we've asked everybody to give us in this handbook here is an outline roughly of what they do. I've summarised that even further and linked it to curriculum areas, if you look at the left-hand column there. So that's about helping schools find, if you like, the provider's offer and how that might meet the school's needs. So it's a very simple route there. I am now looking at breaking down that left-hand curriculum a little bit further and blending it in. So here, for example, just taking music, very much a simplification, I admit, because there's heck an awful lot. And when you've got the music plan on top of that, by heck, it's a lot, isn't it, Hannah? But looking at roughly some key points within that curriculum that you might want to pick out as these are things that we would expect to be offered within our school, whether it's in Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2 or Key Stage 3, and then the learning experiences that are linked to that. And it's those learning experiences that can be picked up and schools can be supported by our providers across the city. And of course, the Music Hub delivers on a lot of that in terms of the music. But I've done this for all the other sort of subject areas across the curriculum as well. And then eventually, this is just an initial, but we can pull all those learning experiences out, relate them to Nottingham, and then what could we, perhaps as a city, I mean, we've talked about the manifesto from the work that Gareth's doing. What as a city could we say every young person will or should have access to or experience these types of things within their school career? So just a little bit playful. And one thing we are missing here is an input from young people themselves, and that's got to be looked at some stage. And it could be the 50 cultural and creative activities or experiences that you have within your school career in Nottingham. So this is almost like the expectation, and I'd love to work with a group of people just, I suppose, digging into this and saying, oh, is this practical? Is it feasible? Is it useful? Other work we've been doing is around supporting curriculum planning. Done a lot for Key Stage 3, both in terms of curriculum ladders for art design, for music. Again, the Music Hub website's got those, dance and drama. Again, and in a few minutes' time, I'll be very keen to see if there'd be any use for us doing something similar for Key Stage 3. I mean, those curriculum ladders look something like this, for example. And would a Key Stage 3, I mean, it will only really be easy doing it for year 7, 8 and 9, because after that we've got the GCSE syllabus is stepping in, but just some thoughts there. Other things we're trying to do within our cultural rucksack and on the website, looking at supporting articles that might help you. So we're putting together some work on making the case for arts subjects at Key Stage 3, doing a little piece about arts and creative careers. Personal development through the arts is something else that just started to write something about, and also cultural capital could be something to consider. And then finally, I think one thing that's really interesting, Kathy, I picked up from the work you've been doing with creative collaboratives, is that there you're building up, I think, a number of creative practitioners who are out there in the city who can support schools. So it's not just the big organisations, but the single practitioners and arts professionals, which I think would be really useful for you to know about that. And that's on the website, the Challenge website. And if you just look for the creative collaborative section, and there, if you are looking for people to help in support in particular areas, then that's a great place to start. And I think that's a really useful resource, to be honest. So well done, Kathy, for getting that to them. I'm going to whiz through those two, because this is a picture of the map we're going to do, because people say we don't know what is out there, we don't know where it is, so we will satisfy that particular requirement quite easily. And the other key bit I want to try and look at, and takes on to the last bit I'm going to talk about, this is our rucksack planner. I hope you've all had copies of this. We had a look at this in terms of what CPD offers were on there to try and pull together and pull out the CPD offer from across the city. There were some, but there weren't many. And I think from my perspective, certainly if I was teaching, I would love to try and get to a place or go to a place where all the offers for CPD, for example, were pulled together and expanded upon, because I know our provision across the city is more than is on that calendar at the moment. And so I'm just looking at, in a few minutes, a little chat about CPD, what else we could do to support you. We had a chat in the primary Culturemeet a couple of weeks ago about what sort of things might be missing that maybe our city providers could put on, or we could get happening as well. So those are really important things to chat about. And then the final thing, which we've touched on several times already, is this work around creative careers, just really highlighting that as a key issue for us to take forward. So I'm going to stop now because I've talked for far too long. And particularly, I think for me to start off it's about CPD. And questions around that would be really important. Just have a little chat now we've got about half an hour, maybe just about 30 minutes left. So batting it out and back to the ensemble group here. Obviously, we've got our providers who have said today about CPD offers that you have. And I'm just wondering what sort of needs schools might want in particular to support them in their delivery. So there's two bits. We'll start with the schools bit first, I think. So are there particular needs or anything that schools feel is missing in terms of support from CPD? And maybe some of the providers out there, because they actually, we could perhaps put that on, or we could do that. Or Kathy and I could go, we could find somebody who could do that. If you're a little shy, you can write something in the chat room if you like, but we'd love to engage and talk to you if that's okay. And don't give me a stunning silence, please.
I mean, to some extent, it's hearing from you about why you came today, what you were hoping to get out of today for a start, and how this could be expanded on. So, I mean, maybe start there. So what were you hoping to find out about, and is this format a useful format, coming online every term to hear from arts providers? Because there's so much more that they could share with you. There's so much expertise in the city, and we'd love you to have those practical kind of masterclasses as well as the just raising the confidence about all the things that are going on. So yeah, over to you guys. I don't want to pick on somebody, but I will.
Go.
Laura, yeah.
Oh, sorry, go on, you go first.
Okay, so basically at the AP that I work at, it's quite heavily focused on behaviour mentoring, and then sort of more the academics, trying to get them some levels, whether it's functional skills or GCSEs. But I work in the art department. I teach the BTEC art there, but I've had more and more children that come into my art room that aren't taking art at all. Sort of art therapy and various things. And I've been involved in different projects, sort of at East Midlands Airport, and different places. And what they get from that is amazing. They're so, they just want to do something other. And that's my fight at Aspire, to get my powers above to see that we need to be offering these children more, a creative curriculum as well.
Yeah.
So Martha suggested that I came to see you guys to find out, because we're up for getting involved in everything that we possibly can. We can, sometimes we have small groups, sometimes we have bigger groups, but actually for them to start to achieve smaller things and see that whatever they do is worthwhile, that it's appreciated, that there's something they're proud of, is amazing. And I think that's kind of that's where we need to start at, rather than starting at let's get your maths and your English and the science, because they're just not engaged in that. So
just sort of hook into learning in a way, and to engage them in the process by having them actually engaged in something to begin with.
Yeah, and a lot of our children have missed massive gaps in their education.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a primary school teacher trained, gone into a secondary AP, and a lot of what I do, I teach the English there as well, but it's through creative. So we might get the paints out to deliver an English lesson, because it's finding ways that they feel that they can contribute. And I just wanted to see what you guys have out there that I could get them involved in, and making them want to learn again, really.
Yeah.
Sort of work that Simon does, I suppose, yeah.
One of the things that I picked up from what you said was that you're kind of feeling a little bit like you're making the case for that with other powers that be. And I suppose that might be another area of CPD that we could provide, which is that sort of making the case element of it. So there's sort of the evidence for how it's so, you know, in terms of developing those creative habits of mind, and what creativity actually means, and the whole gamut that then promotes learning across the board. Something like that, would that be beneficial?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool.
And it's giving all children access to do something creative, not just my BTEC art student. Like I say, at break times, my art room's full of kids who want to express themselves. So why can't we get that into the timetable? Why can't we get some extra curriculum activities available to them?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you. Roxanne, I think you were going to share something.
This is 15. I was, hi. I just wanted to clarify something really. I mean, as expected, quite a lot of the events and kind of the things that you as organisations offer are directed to schools. Sorry, go on. Sorry, you're on mute, Kathy.
Oh, sorry, I was just saying if everyone else could mute while you talk, because there was quite a lot of feedback.
Okay,
sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so a lot of the organisations that you guys are coming from, and the funding, from a funding perspective, maybe is aimed at school-aged students. And obviously the students that I work with primarily are 16 to 18. And obviously they're quite a unique cohort because they missed quite a considerable chunk of learning and time in school and in college. So just maybe let me know really if those things can be open and can be flexible to children and students who are a little bit older. The students that we're working with at the minute, quite sadly, have missed quite a lot of opportunities. And I'm just trying to, you know, put feelers out there for things that they can get involved in because they have missed out a chunk. Even things like their social skills are really behind. It's really, really sad. And so if they've got opportunities for things like that, I'd really like to get them involved. But again, like I said, they're studying early years courses and maybe teacher training courses, and it's things like that that our students are aiming for in terms of a career. And so if there are any events where actually you'd like some helping hands, we've got some very, very eager students just without the opportunities there to do it. We've got some voluntary placements in schools and things like that, but actually if there are things going on in the community, they're really, really happy to help. And always will be staffed as well. So just wanted to put that offer there really, because I know it'll be really valuable for them in terms of getting experience, but we want to help as well. You're still on mute, Kathy.
Sorry.
You're not used to this thing, are you? We're 3 years in now.
I know. I don't know why I keep doing that. Yes. Any other perspectives from other teachers that are in the room?
Yeah,
I
can jump in. In terms of professional development, I think things like skills enhancement opportunities and things for non-specialists, and you know, just sort of like refreshing your bank of ideas, that kind of thing can be quite useful. Sort of, I know, seeing how somebody uses something in a different way, or I mean, being in a sort of special school, most of our teachers are non-specialists in what they're teaching across the entire curriculum, and I think creativity sort of takes a hit, particularly sort of with staff turnover and that sort of thing. And so it could be a sort of as simple as, you know, how to use watercolor, or it could be more simple as how to sort of bring, I don't know, certain aspects of music into a curriculum. But if there was an opportunity for sort of experts to be able to sort of offer those sort of bite-sized things, not necessarily sort of a huge thing, but I think that might be quite useful. And I think you'd find sort of people buying into stuff like that just to upskill themselves.
That sounds really interesting. And it reminded me of Rosny's question around the resources that you want them to develop. So like potentially some of that, the bite-sized stuff could be in video, like short video tutorials, or things from a team of a bank of experts or a bank of creative practitioners. That kind of put some things together.
Just weighing in on that. If we're forging links, that might be a really nice thing to think about from some centres that maybe provide that. So, you know, from a teaching perspective, someone, you know, as an art teacher, possibly I could give a really good insight in terms of how you might put together, you know, watercolor, things that I would say to kids, that kind of thing, to get a strong outcome. That might be quite a nice, if we're looking to make links, that might be a nice way.
Absolutely. I mean,
yeah, interesting.
Teacher CPD delivering the CPD to other teachers is fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. And I think everybody having a chance to be creative in their roles is so important. Like, teachers need to see themselves as creative and make sure that they're passing that message on. So yeah. Thank you.
And that's a challenge when you're not working in your specialist area. So the support that Beth was talking about is really important for generalists. Sorry, Simon.
Sorry.
If someone was, I thought someone was going to speak then, but maybe not.
But I was going to ask about the kind of rhythm of CPD through the year. So if we're looking at a whole year's programme and we're well in advance for the Cultural Rucksack Planner for 2023-24. But I was just thinking, if we were thinking now about what that would be for a whole year and what you would easily access, in terms of, there's, you know, sometimes there's stuff that your whole multi-academy trust might put on within an inset day or something for all staff, that the cultural providers, if they're aware of when those days are, that they might be able to come in and deliver something to a whole staff team. So there's a little bit of kind of just information sharing about dates and how you could have another input. But in terms of things that Challenge might do as a kind of citywide coming together in a venue or you know, in person, you know, is presumably that twilight session, the 4 till 6 time. Would coming into the city be good, or do you think you'd prefer to have you know, joint sessions? So it's, say, I'm thinking, you know, at the moment a number of arts organisations put on their CPD in their place, and it just feels like we could share that time a little bit more, like we do today, where there's a kind of, you've got 3 things, so you're hitting like 3 different things in one night and really making the most of your time. I don't know, what do you think? Is that, how often would you like to have a CPD offer from Challenge? Or how often do you think you'd have the time to take part?
I think
Any thoughts?
Me, the CPD that is planned.
We'll say that again, Laura.
So for our academy, the CPD calendar is planned for a year in advance. So I can tell you what I'm doing in July. So, but we do have small windows where we're available to do different things. But yeah, it's kind of already missed that window.
Yeah, we have. So, yeah, we have for this year for sure. Yeah.
So we need to be thinking now about 2023-24.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's still a role for some twilight sessions for sure. I like this, but either face-to-face and centrally, or face-to-face via Zoom, or whatever. I think folks will still dip into those sorts of experiences. I find, so that again, it's just making sure, but if we do put them on, we're hitting the right notes, the right needs, really.
Tracy, from your perspective at Park Vale, do you have a kind of sense of what teachers would request if there was a choice of attending some more CPD around developing creativity in the curriculum? Is there anything specific that you particularly have identified as an area of interest?
I'll just apologise for my beagle whining in the background. If you hear a high-pitched squeal, that's what it is. He's after his dinner. If I'm quite honest with you, I mean, I work in a secondary school, and we're in a privileged position, as in all of our teachers are specialist teachers. We have our own CPD running. Whether they would take part in extra CPD would be debatable, because like most secondary school teachers, well, most teachers anywhere, their time is really precious and they work really hard, and you know, they never leave at sort of 3:30. They're always working on. So something that they could access in their own time at home, maybe a podcast or something might be more convenient for them. But as soon as you try and slot in an event, undoubtedly there'll be something else that comes within the school and pushes that out of place, you know, whether it's an Ofsted or something will be called. So I'm not saying that they wouldn't have the heart and want to participate. It's just that I know from my own perspective, even getting here today, as you know, it's 1 out of 2. I've only got to 50% of them. In terms of what I've heard today, I mean, it's really interesting because from my point of view, I'd like to get your providers into the school themselves. Whereas if they're coming and working alongside our teachers, that's in one way a form of CPD anyway. But we obviously come from a very disadvantaged background, as does Nottingham City in general. So our kids don't believe that there's anything much out there in terms of careers and opportunities, and also have very sort of low self-esteem. They won't go and try anything radical in case they fail. But by getting somebody into school to say, look what I can do, look what you can do alongside me, one, it gives them an introduction to a career and obviously opens that avenue that they'll go and investigate it. But two, if they can just be successful in something that maybe they've not thought about, again, it opens these avenues and just boosts that little bit of self-esteem. I mean, we run or have run art classes after school. We don't get extra children come along because they see that staying after school is like the nerdy thing to do. They don't want to do that. But if we actually had some outside provider, they are more likely to engage. And that's what we've got to do. We need to push really our pupil premium, our most disadvantaged students. We need to get them into extracurricular activities around the arts where we can sort of help their minds, their health, their sort of mental health, but also build their self-esteem, but also show them that there are opportunities out there, that they don't have to sit on the dole, they don't have to do these doldrum sort of jobs all their lives. There's a whole sort of raft of things that they can do, and by getting other people into school, that's what we open up to them. I mean, we tell them about these opportunities, but of course all teachers are, you know, airheads. They don't believe anything that we say. So we're telling them you could do this, you could do that, and they need another person to tell them. They need another person to show them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good feedback. Thanks, Tracy.
Simon, did you want to come in?
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to just jump on what you were saying, Tracy. You know, I think it is really important having outside providers come in and actually speak to the young people, the students in school. You know, my position now, where I'm at now, I mean, I'm the operations manager at this Freedom Foundation. But prior to that, I mean, I'm a fully qualified English teacher now, and I was only doing that for about 3 or 4 years. Before that, I was a working professional in the musical theatre industry. I did 17 years in London's West End, which was a great career. But before, you know, my background, I was from a quite a deprived background. No one knew that I was doing dancing. I was doing drama. I was doing singing. You know, I grew up in Forest Fields, Hyson Green. So when I was like 12, 13, my mates used to see me at the bus stop with my bag. And then they're like, where are you going? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to the gym. I mean, what 13-year-old, 14-year-old goes to the gym? But that was my cover up. And, you know, there are, you know, from work, I worked at Bulwell Academy for 4 years, and I taught English there. But the students that I spoke to, you know, about drama, and they were like, oh no, it's not for me. And they pigeonhole themselves, and they feel like they're limited. And I feel like it's because they haven't experienced it. They don't get any outside providers coming in. And what I'm trying to say is, what we do at Freedom Foundation, as well as that, we're trying to encourage assemblies or coming to meet the students first, face to face. And that's me coming in and giving a little bit of backstory about my colourful secondary school history, but what I went on to do and how amazing the arts are. So if that's something you were interested in, you know, I would love to come in and speak to the students. So yeah.
Yeah, we would absolutely love that. That's what they need to see. They need to see real people from the outside world who've been successful and how that relates to their subject. because we do get students that take, we offer dance, drama, art, a lot of digital creative media as well. And we do get to the stage where, you know, they will just drop those subjects towards the middle of year 11 because they don't see their worth. They don't see that they are going to ever help them. And then they'll go and concentrate on their maths and English. Whereas really, you know, they need to drive forward on those. If they can see the opportunities that they open and that people can be successful, then obviously they'll work a lot harder on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll drop my email in the address and it'd be great to talk with you a little bit more.
I've already got it.
All right, okay. I won't send it again.
You could probably put together a directory in the same way we've got, you know, individual artists, professionals there you can draw on. We could do the same for links into careers. I'd have thought in a fairly short order for that. And just on the enrichment curriculum, Tracy, I'm working with the DFE at the moment with their enrichment team, and there will be, in the same way there's a music plan, an enrichment plan coming out as well from DFE. There will be some money for that for enrichment activities post school, so there could be some help on its way. We're having to hold off at the moment because we've got new ministers and find out if they're still going to do it, but I'm hoping they will do. But yeah, it's a good call. Thanks, Simon, for outlining that. I mean, it's something that a lot of our academies get because we've got 2 staff within our trust who just develop careers and careers mark and get people into schools doing all the things that you're talking about, but that is an offer that's not available to everybody. So we need to make sure we can fill that gap if we can.
And how we make sure that all the challenge partners that are in these exciting jobs in creative industries have the links with the schools and know the right people to get in to talk. I think it's sometimes schools are crying out for it, and challenge, you know, partners are there ready to do it, but we don't always, you know, we need to just make sure that there's an easily accessible route for everybody to connect. Simon, I think you got a few bookings coming hot and fast through the chat. Yeah, and just to say, but not for the Theatre Royal as well, Georgina's offering that theatre careers outreach programme. So that's obviously something else. There's 2 things straight away, you know, just from today we managed to pick up for you. Yeah. The other, just another quick thing that I've been thinking about, and it would just be really great now that we've got the conversation going, just to put it out there, was in terms of Nottingham as a place and the stories of people, the heritage, some of the history, and in terms of the bite size, you could watch it later information that I just feel like there's a commission there somewhere to make sure that challenge partners are kind of providing some of those stories that teachers can use in their teaching that link Nottingham as a place and the year of stories potentially with the sorts of things that we're able to offer. I know Gareth's putting his thumbs up. It feels like something that is kind of so doable and could be a really good resource. What do you think, Gareth? Do we work on it?
I would agree. I think there's, looking at some of the work that I'm not sure, some of you will know Tom Cable, who has done some of this sort of stuff for Museum Service over in Newark and a few other people, and he's been doing the Nottingham podcast with the BBC Radio Nottingham. Feels like a good person to potentially involve in that. Obviously, looping in some of the history curriculum of things and uncovering some of those lesser known stories that have been wrongly covered up. Certainly trying to be a bit more redistributive in the stories that we share is really, really important. I never realised, and Simon, you said you were growing up in Forest Fields. I live in New Basford. That there was a kiss-in at Asda in 1991. There was a queer couple who kissed in the store and were asked to leave. So the following weekend, there was a lesbian kiss-in at Hyson Green Asda. So one of my new projects is to try and get a pink plaque put up to celebrate that unique piece of LGBT history in Nottingham, for example, or that HB sauce was invented in New Basford. Like, there's lots of these incredible stories that people don't necessarily know about, and for no right or wrong reason, but let's find ways to do that. And I think it's a really good thing to put into people's cultural rucksack, to be proud of the place that they live and to know daft trivia that might come up in a pub quiz.
Yeah, and for teachers to know that and have it easily kind of, it's there, it's available to them. and for it to be gathered. I suppose part of the Year of Stories is to gather those stories from grandparents and parents, and for, you know, homework to be set that people never find out about, but it is supporting how people talk to each other, like ask those questions of family members, and I think that would be really, really great if some of those prompts come from and the information that's gathered can kind of come back. You know, we're definitely wanting to make sure that the Cultural Rucksack doesn't feel like it's arts providers over here providing an offer to you, which you may take or leave. It's very much, how do we shape things together? How do we work together? How do we sort of learn about each other and share our expertise in our different areas? So it's been brilliant tonight to hear from you all. I don't know if there are any other burning questions or things that people would like to discuss while we've got this opportunity. We've got a few more minutes till 5 o'clock. Martin, are there other things on your list?
No, I think we've got some homework to do, so that's fine. We'll go away and do that. And yeah, I think that at the moment that's fine for me, because we can look at putting some directories together and just building up some of those creative careers links for you in the first instance.
Yeah.
And then also thinking about some sort of short soundbite CPD opportunities in films and presentations, maybe in the first instance, rather than a massive fair of some sort. So, you know, go local and flexible, I think, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, brilliant. Eki, yes, of course, I'll share your Child Friendly City document with everybody. That would be great. And just keep in touch with us, like in those moments where you're organising things and you want to find things out, just like send us stuff, talk to us, and we'll be able to follow up with our New Schools Partnerships Coordinator too soon, which is brilliant. Yeah. So take care, everyone. Thanks so much for coming. Have a lovely, relaxing evening, and enjoy the rest of the week.
The sun shines out. Come, it's here anyway. Cheers, then.
Yeah.
It's just started raining here.
Thank
Fantastic.
This is the righteous end of town. Okay. Cheers, folks.
Thank you. See you later.